Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be at whatever time of day when you see this video. It is Akalia Thomas at Flaws and All Perfectly Imperfect. I thank you for the people who are listening. Don't forget to go to, on the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Bless the Lord. So the last time that I was on here, I talked about love covers, it doesn't condone. And since I've done some episodes, as I was meditating on the Lord and the Word in and of itself, I want to point out to you, because I said I always want to move in intentionality, being intentional, and understanding. I've had people tell me, you're calculated, you're strategic. So is my Father in heaven. So what are you saying? That's right. And if you call to his fold, why wouldn't you have that? That some people have that, and that you have to be that way in business. You need to be that way in every facet of life, if you ask me. Personal, financial, spiritual. And I wanted to point out, from the time I spoke about Nehemiah to Elijah, to everyday life, we have to trust God's plan. When I was speaking on the priest Eli, who God called his sons the sons of Belial, and he still let them run rampant, and he didn't correct them. He said something to them about, them, what they did against God versus doing it to people, as if doing wrong to people. He was basically saying that's something you can fix. But also in that, I want to point out, when the Lord rebuked Eli, he also said, because he knew right from wrong, he knew God's laws, judgments, his statutes, his precepts, and he ignored them and allowed his children to run rampant. Guess what else he was in? Idolatry. Anything that you know to do better and you continue in, it's idolatry. If God says your body is a temple, is that 1 Corinthians 6, starting at the 19th verse? Do you know ye not that your body is a temple? Yeah, it's not just about sex either. It's food too. It's being gluttonous too. Because when you have to do spiritual things, all of this stuff got to be aligned. Your emotions, your mental, your physical, and your sexual health. Because if you are in fornication, you are allowing different spirits entering in. It's just a revolving door on you. You need to understand that. And my main thing is rejection and perversion. But I'm not limited to any of those things. He has trained me to do lots of things. And with the new things that are coming, it's always going to be learning and training to do. But understand, you can't apply godly principles where it's ungodly practices going forth. That's perversion. You can't tell a man or a woman what type of man of God or woman of God she's supposed to be around the house, and y'all not married. That applies to married couples. So you a boyfriend and a girlfriend. What a man, and according to the Bible, is a husband supposed to do around the house don't apply to your household, because you're not a wife. When we say walk worthy of the vocation, marriage is a ministry too. So you can't tell somebody what they supposed to be doing, but you living in sin, wanting to apply God so it can fit your format of how you want to condition and control somebody. And that's what being religious will get you. Religion, when you're religious, you know what everybody else should be doing, and you don't see you. That's what religion is. Religion always got something to say about everybody else. It's a critique. Or if even in a video, somebody say something you don't like, you immediately go to look for a flaw. Well, God bless you. You can find all my flaws. That's why it's called Flaws and All. Because what you will know is when it comes to the Lord and he'd have me to say or to do something, I don't care. Look at her. Look at the way she looks. She need makeup. Look at this. I love my natural hair. I don't care what's wrong or right with me, my face, my eyes, my body, my whatever. But I tell you what I do have, the spirit of the true and the living God. I have a sword that's made of fire. I have a worship in my spirit. I have a dance in my feet for the Lord. And I don't have to get ready. I stay ready, and I'm trained to go for Jesus, for souls to be saved. If you come in my life and it's something that I'm supposed to do spiritual, I don't care about your human feelings, because we have enough people that are not completing their assignments and fulfilling the ministries God gave them because they dying, because nobody's telling people the truth. You living in perversion, and you trying to tell somebody about what a man or a woman don't do, and you not even sitting in the correct seat to give correction to anybody yourself. Your whole situation is sin. And then you going to talk about somebody need to pray with you. No, what you need to do is separate, then put yourself in a seat to be cleansed. And it will serve you to keep your mouth off men and women of God. It's stuff that I see that I don't agree with. I may say what a correction is, but you're not going to catch me on the phone or in a conversation tearing down other men and women of God. Because you got to be mindful of that. You don't just put your mouth on people. And I was sharing that with my sister in Christ and in life. Every person that has judged me about my struggles and woes with alcohol, every single person right now has a drinking problem. Every last one of them. That's why it's important. And I learned that the hard way. I'm not saying that because I'm special. Anything I talk about, I've been through it. I had to learn it the hard way. That's why I tell my children, I'm going to say it here, you don't have to learn everything the hard way. Not everything. I don't want to learn everything the hard way. Because every time you step out in disobedience, then it's time you got to sit. You got to get purified and cleansed all over again. Of course, I'm telling you, fornication, all that stuff, I lived it. I'm a single woman. I could have been married, but I also would have been divorced 3 times. See, I'm not going to marry just to say I got a man. I'm not desperate. I have been desperate for love. But I thank God that he gave me enough sense not to enter into that type of covenant with somebody, knowing full well that it wasn't going to work. But I'm going to try to make a thing be a thing. I always stayed too long. I always did more than what I should have done. But I thank God that he gave me enough sense to get away when I needed to. So now I do know how to walk away from people, places, and things. You got to be mindful of that. Religion knows what to do. Religion knows how to perform. But religion not living it. Religion don't have no authority when real tests and trials of our faith come. Religion can't lead you through nothing. Religion won't be subject to anybody or have a covering over it when you need it. Because you got a whole bunch of wounds, you heavily anointed, and you gifted, but who is covering you? You don't know nobody that's ahead in your journey. Your mate, your partner, your wife, your husband ain't it. Because y'all walking that thing together. And whoever is the person in lead, the other person is carrying the load through intercession. And it'll start to show. I could even show you religion in a married couple. Because you can look at a man or woman of God in the pulpit, but look at the partner that's not. Look at the way they look. How they dress, how they move. Because you could say somebody great, but I'm not going to be in no relationship. And my husband look good, he work out. Well, I need to get up and don't be lazy and work out. If my husband eating healthy, I need to go eat healthy. As a matter of fact, if he eating healthy as the wife, it's going to be because of me. Because I'm going to put that in place. Because I want him to live and not die. When you walk in religion, when you don't understand stuff, you don't have the sense enough that God gave you to be quiet and just sit back and wait. You got to have something to say when it's nothing to say. When you got religion, you always got a word because you can feel God, but you don't even understand. If we all called according to his purpose, when we gather, you're going to feel it. If somebody preaching the word and what's resonating in your spirit, that's called being in one accord. That doesn't mean that's a word you have to give. That's where the fruit of the Spirit of self-control come from. So that means your spirit man is lined up and in agreement with it. Religion will have you self-righteous and blind to yourself. It's a trick of the enemy. And they talking about the devil all up in the church. That's where he's supposed to be. How you get stuff cast out? What you mean? When you came to church, you was sick. Religion will have you acting like sin started the day after you got saved, because it's too painful to face yourself. So let me point the finger and beat up on everybody else. But when you really getting pruned and processed, you're not ashamed of everything. Don't get it, misconstrued. It's not easy for me to say and share some things, but the truth is I don't care, because I would rather tell what the Lord need me to tell in the times he need me to tell, and there's so much more. And I'm okay with it, because if that's what it takes for souls to be saved and for people to understand that walking for the Lord and living in him is doable. It is doable. I wasn't trying to go this way, but like I said, if he had me to talk, I'm going to say it. But even in that, as I wrap all of this up, his intentionality, when he put people in your place strategically at times, even if you reject it, because that's religion. You're not healed. That's why you're not needed. If you can't accept instruction or correction, you don't need a mic in your hand. If you refuse to humble yourself up under some authority, they're not there to suppress you. But if somebody is headed in a direction where you are going, wouldn't it be nice to, that means they're built and they're equipped to pray you through when you're ready to give up and fall down. And it's not fair to be with a mate to try to have them carry something they're not equipped for neither. And y'all both need correction, and y'all both need covering, and y'all both need love and a safe space. That's why people don't last long in ministry. That's what a covering provides. They gonna correct you. They gonna call, because they care about the mission and where you have to get. And they can't sit and pet you and your little feelings. But when it's time for healing, that's a part of it too. But when you self-righteous and full of pride, and you walk in full throttle in rejection because you're not healed, and you want to control stuff, because Jezebel and narcissism only is born from hurt, from abuse, and from neglect. And then if you got a bunch of kids that come out, that's because you carrying it in you. It's in your womb, and it's your spirit, and it's sitting on the seat of your heart, because you're not healed. God knew he was going to destroy Eli and his sons. And Eli knew too. And all of that was a lie. So when Hannah came in praying for her son, and she did what she needed to do while she was being tormented by the other wife, it makes sense that Eli thought she was drunk. Look at what his sons was doing as you learn the story. But he put Samuel in place, so when judgment passed, by the time that judgment came, Samuel was trained. And that's, I want to point something out. Don't judge people for the stuff that they have to, these leaders, for the stuff that they have to contend with. You get the God that's in them, so at a point in a time, you make sure that you're ready. Because a lot of times the things you judge them for will be the very sin that'll catch you in. Because when you see it and you up under them for training, it's your job to intercede, not judge and tear them down. Because we all need each other. But all of that's being missed because everybody trying to be great and better than the next person, because that's rejection. That is perversion. That is religion. That is self-righteous. When Elijah was walking, when he went and got fed by the bird, obedience. Look how strategic he is. When he told him to get her from that place and go to this place, it was a woman sitting up getting ready to die and starve herself. She could have moved and left and tried to find help and do all these different things, but she was right there at the right time when the prophet came. And then not only did she go from not starving, she had plentiful. It ran over. And then her son died. Sometimes God will let a tragedy happen, because look, Elijah went and through his hands and authority God gave him, but still God, remember, it's just like you, an appliance or a vacuum cleaner. You are not great in and of yourself. A vacuum cleaner can, and I'm talking about a good one that got levels to it. It can be surface, it can be mid, and it can go deep down into the carpet and get, them things expensive. It take a lot to build that vacuum like that. But that cord have to go in the plug. Otherwise, it's just a great vacuum and you know what it can do, but it don't operate at its capacity if it's not connected to the source that make it as powerful as it is structured and built to be. So in case that woman forgot what God did with the food, that wasn't enough. He the true and living God. He bring life and death. It's no way, whatever her story was or whatever that needed to happen. And for the young man, we don't know if he went off into ministry and or whatever the case was with him and his mother. But everything happens for a reason. But he had Samuel there for a right time, even with David. He anointed him long before he came king. Y'all want to tell these stories, but you don't want to tell about the process and what it takes to be made. None of your anointing, none of your gifts, none of that stuff mean anything. If you don't get them sharpened, you don't get pruned, you can't take correction, can't nobody tell you nothing. You can't even misquote a scripture and somebody correct you, you going to find a way to not be wrong. That comes from rejection. But let God affirm you and continue to pour into you. Don't get comfortable in your prayer and then you just want to give a word, and because you know so much of the word, you cocky and you arrogant. So you'll pick up and say anything. You got to make sure you do real research. And even if you do research and a person correct you, just, oh, okay. We don't got to keep talking about it for 15, 20 minutes. It's okay to be wrong. We human. I've had people, I've gone to them like, oh yeah, I was wrong. They still want to keep talking because they so used to opposition, they couldn't understand somebody saying, oh yeah, I was wrong. Thank you for telling me that. They waiting for me to pull the rug from up under them. Like, no, I was wrong. You're right. And that's a sad state. That's a sad state we in. I wanted to point out that God is strategic in everything he do. And when you the person that's waiting for a set thing at an appointed time and you know what he gave you to do, you just got to keep going forward. This is my life right now. He's asking me to do some things according to my human understanding. It is scary. And I'm not in control. I asked him years ago to give me a spirit to ponder like Mary did when she was carrying Jesus. And I pondered those things. And even the stuff I'm teaching, he give you the word in you, and then something happened, you're not even sitting and meditating on what he gave you. And anything he give you to give to somebody else or for people, he set it at your table first. And you're supposed to review yourself and see where you are in that. And if he keep repeating the word to you, it could be the people. A lot of times it is. That's why preachers preach the same stuff over and over, because it's the people not in obedience. But make sure you search your own house first. Marriage is a ministry in your home. How you conduct yourself outside of a video or in a pulpit is the most important. I want you to know it's okay to be a misfit. You just the right fit for Jesus. I love you all in the love of the Lord. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged, stay true to yourself, and allow God to have his perfect work in you. The truth don't set you free, it make you free. Read it correctly. Those words and things are important. Money not the root of all evil. The love of it is. That's idolatry. If you can sit up and go to a seminar and a class to listen about how to get your money together, how to build a business, but you'll say a video that's 20 minutes, 15 minutes too long, when you'll mindlessly scroll and look at stuff for hours, what is that? God not worth 20 minutes, but lining your pockets is? Don't you want to know about the person who can make that cup run over? What you do in your natural state and what God is giving you, God can make it run over. But you don't got enough time for him. You treat him like he an afterthought until it's an emergency. All of this stuff matter. We got to look in the mirror. Let's start a new ministry called Reflections. That no sooner you quick to correct somebody or say something to them, stop yourself and say, God, well, where is that in me? Search yourself. Do yourself a service, because I guarantee you at some point in time, what you don't deal with, it will be put out on the forefront. And what you don't want is everything that God has used you to do in other souls' lives to be discredited because you refuse to see the truth about you. I love you all in the love of the Lord. Until next time, stay blessed.